Yeah, like in ingress controller, we have to make multiple ingress controllers to we not depend upon on single ingress controller. So single ingress controller maybe like handle the three to we can say 5 to 6 microservices. But if you're handling more than 10 or 20 microservices, we can increase the ingress controller also by changing the class name. So while writing the YAML file, we can give a different class name, so we can make.
Okay, see, single micro engineers controller, so that is also part. You can increase up to whatever the resource you have in the host.
Okay.
So you can spin up. See, Nginx controller is nothing but a pod also. It's a pod.
Okay. Okay.
Okay. If your request is high, you can spin up another HPF for your Nginx.
Yes, yes, we can do it. Like if you handling more than services, so we can't able to depend on single control. So for that we can increase by giving some class name, different class name.
Why you are going with a different class name? See, class name is nothing but a Nginx controller only. Okay, one Nginx controller, we can do n number of parts. See, suppose what you will do, your application should run at every time means I can spin up 5 parts. Okay. So it will be, it distributes your incoming traffic. So where is the incoming traffic is coming? From the Nginx controller. So I can scale Nginx controller up to 10 parts. Okay.
Got it. Got it. Got it.
Sandeep, like where do we collect application and cluster level matrices in Kubernetes?
So for that, if you are going to check the logs, okay,
Okay.
you need to use Fluent Bit. There is another package called Fluent Bit or Elasticsearch.
Yeah.
Okay. So there we need to install in our Kubernetes. It will collect all the logs by default. Okay.
For visualization only we use Grafana, right?
Grafana just for visualization, yeah.
For storing, then we use Elasticsearch.
For in your if you are going with CPU, memory, and all those things, we need to configure Prometheus. Okay.
Okay.
So before, if you are using EKS or AKS, by default, there is an metrics collector will be there by the AKS. It will provide you. If you are using with a self-hosted agent, then you need to put some extra packages to collect your CPU and memory, all the data it should read it, right? So
Yeah.
we need that data to read. So we'll add some packages called monitoring. So Prometheus, which will check on the CPU and all this, it will collect all the data and it will send to Grafana. Okay.
Mhm.
That one I will show, tomorrow I will show you. Okay, because right now I am implementing. So once it's complete, I will show you. Because how we implemented is in our application. So we need to just to know. So how many members are logged into our application? So we need to know how many users hit our URL per day. Because it's a business application, right? So we need to know. So who all are using our application, which page is mostly used. Those things we implemented in our application. Okay. So for that, they have written in Next.js, they have written how many members are logging to our application. So those details will capture and put it in a database. From the database, we are reading. Okay, so for that, they have written a Python code. CPS and memory, it is a different thing they have integrated. I will show you. Okay, how to install Prometheus and Grafana. Okay.
Yes, and because like for every profile we have to mention that monitoring tools. So if
But
they
they are
ask,
not going to ask anything in the Grafana on the Prometheus. See, there is no questions will ask you. But for your understanding purpose, we will show you. Okay, because Prometheus and Grafana is just a part we are running, okay? We are planning by
okay,
default, it will read it all the data. So just we need to configure in the Grafana. So where should it collect the data? That should, so there is a bar chart. There is like some charts will be there. So whatever you are convenient, we can choose it in the Grafana. So as per my experience in Grafana and Prometheus, they will ask you how you are integrated. Those things they can ask you Okay, so someone may ask you around like, can you write a Prometheus query? So I will tell you how to write that one. One moment.
ಭಾರಿ ಸಾಗರ್ ಬ್ರೋ, ಪೈಥಾನ್ ಎಲ್ಲೆಲ್ಲಿ ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ ಅದನ್ನ ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಹೇಳಿ.
ಓ ಸಾರಿ, ನಾನು ಮ್ಯೂಟ್ ಅಲ್ಲೇ ಮಾತಾಡ್ತಿದ್ದೆ, ಸಾರಿ.
ಓಕೆ.
ಸೊ ನಿಮಗೆ ಎಕ್ಸಾಕ್ಟ್ಲಿ ಲೈಕ್ ಯಾವ ಇದಕ್ ಬೇಕು ಹೇಳಿ, ಲೈಕ್ ಮಾನಿಟರ್ ಮಾಡಕ್ಕ ಯಾವ ತರ?
ಅದೇ ಸ್ಕ್ರಿಪ್ಟಿಂಗ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಏನೇನು ಮತ್ತೆ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಲ್ಯಾಂಬ್ಡಾ ಬೋಟೋ 3 ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾರಲ್ವಾ, ಅದ್ರಲ್ಲಿ ಫೋಕಸ್ ಏನ್ ಮಾಡ್ಬೇಕು ಅಂತ ಪೈಥಾನ್, ಇನ್ ಕೇಸ್ ಏನಾದ್ರು ಕ್ವಶನ್ಸ್ ಅರೈಸ್ ಆದ್ರೆ.
ಸೊ ನಾನು ಟಾಸ್ಕ್ ಕೊಟ್ಟಿದ್ದೆ, ಮಾಡಿದ್ರಾ ಕ್ಲೌಡ್ ಫ್ರಂಟ್?
ಕ್ಲೌಡ್ ಫ್ರಂಟ್ ಇಂದ ಮಾಡಿಲ್ಲ ಸಂದೀಪ್, ಲೈಕ್ ವ್ಯಾಫ್ ಇಂದ ಮಾಡಿದೀವಿ. ಸೊ ವ್ಯಾಫ್ ಇಂದ ವಿ ಕ್ಯಾನ್ ರಿಸ್ಟ್ರಿಕ್ಟ್ ಒನ್ ಸ್ಪೆಸಿಫಿಕ್ ಕಂಟ್ರಿ, ಲೈಕ್ ಇಂಡಿಯಾ ಇಂದ ಓನ್ಲಿ ಅಲೋ ಮಾಡಿದೀವಿ. ಸೊ ಇಫ್ ಸಮ್ ಲೈಕ್ ಐ ಆಮ್ ಯೂಸಿಂಗ್ US ನಾರ್ತ್ ಈಸ್ಟ್ ನ, ಸೊ ಅಲ್ಲಿಂದ ಆಕ್ಸೆಸ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರೆ ಗೆಟಿಂಗ್ 403 ಫಾರ್ವರ್ಡ್ ಎರರ್.
ವ್ಯಾಫ್ ರೂಲ್ಸ್ ಇಂದಾನೆ ಮಾಡೋದು ವೆಬ್ ಅಪ್ಲಿಕೇಶನ್ ಫೈರ್ ವಾಲ್. ಸೊ ಕ್ಲೌಡ್ ಫ್ರಂಟ್ ಇಟ್ ವಾಸ್ ಬಿಲ್ಟ್ ಇನ್. ಸೊ ಇನ್ನು ವ್ಯಾಫ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ನೀವು ಕಂಡೀಷನ್ಸ್ ಹಾಕ್ತಿರಲ್ವಾ?
ಕೇಳಿಸಿಲ್ಲ.
Okay. So now you have an idea. So everyone, I'm asking, like now everyone has done this one WAF.
ಎಸ್ ಸಂದೀಪ್.
ಸರ್ ವ್ಯಾಫ್ ಮಾಡಿದೀವಿ ಸರ್.
Okay. ಸೊ ಅದೇ ತರನೇ ಕ್ಲೌಡ್ ಫ್ರಂಟ್ ನೋಡ್ಕೊಂಡಿರಿ, ಓಕೆನಾ? ಸೊ ಕ್ಲೌಡ್ ಫ್ರಂಟ್
even they suggested CloudFront is less cost compared to the WAF, but ಅಲ್ಲಿ configurations ಗೊತ್ತಾಗ್ತಿಲ್ಲ, so we have to make getting confused in CloudFront.
Okay. Okay. ಕ್ಲೌಡ್ ಫ್ರಂಟ್ ಆಗಿ ಬಿಹೇವಿಯರ್ ಅದ ಒಂದು ಸೆಕ್ಷನ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ, ಸೊ ಅದೇ ತರನೇ ಇನ್ನೊಂದು ಕೋಡ್ ಇರಬೇಕು. ಓಕೆ, ಇಫ್ ಯು ಆರ್ ಓನ್ಲಿ ಕಾನ್ಫಿಗರಿಂಗ್, ಸೊ ಕ್ಲೌಡ್ ಫ್ರಂಟ್ ವಿಲ್ ಸೆಂಡ್ ಯು ದ ಹೆಡರ್, like so which country it is coming from. Okay. Just to protect like application from attacks. Okay, filters block allow HTTP request based on rules. Okay.
It's in WAF you can, if you requested from the user it will go up to the server, but server will be denied. So ಅಲ್ಲಿವರೆಗೂ ಹೋಗುತ್ತೆ, but server denied ಮಾಡುತ್ತೆ. So output within WAF.
ಅದೇ ನನ್ನ ಹತ್ರ ಈಗ AWS ಇಂದ ಹೋಗ್ಬೇಕು ಅಂದಾಗ, ಅವಾಗ ಅಲ್ಲ ALB ಇಂದ ಹೋಗ್ಬೇಕಂದಾಗ,
ಲೈಕ್ ALB ಇಂದ ಆಲ್ರೆಡಿ ನಾವು ಇದು ಸರ್ವಿಸ್ ಇದು ಅಲೋ ಮಾಡಿರ್ತೀವಿ, ಓನ್ಲಿ ALB ಮಾತ್ರ ಆಕ್ಸೆಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ಬೇಕಂತ. ಸೊ ಅವಾಗ ನಾವು ಈಗ ಸರ್ವರ್ ಏನಾದ್ರು ಲೈಕ್ ಯೂಸರ್ ಸಪೋಸ್ ಸ್ಪೆಸಿಫಿಕ್ ಸರ್ವಿಸ್ ನ ಆಕ್ಸೆಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ಬೇಕು ಅಂತ DNS ದಿಂದ ಇದು ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಂಡ್ರೆ ಅಪ್ ಟು ಸರ್ವರ್ ವರ್ಗೂ ರೀಚ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. ಸೊ ಅಲ್ಲಿಂದ ರೂಲ್ ಬರ್ದಿರ್ತೀವಲ್ವಾ ವ್ಯಾಪ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ, ಸೊ ಅದು ಸ್ಪೆಸಿಫಿಕ್ ಕಂಟ್ರಿ ಮಾತ್ರ ಅಲೋ ಮಾಡು, ರಿಮೈನಿಂಗ್ಸ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರೆ ಅಲೋ ಮಾಡ್ಬೇಡ ಅಂತ. ಸೊ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ರಿಸ್ಟ್ರಿಕ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ಬಿಡುತ್ತೆ ಯೂಸರ್ if the user from the specific country.
Yes, I have one more doubt. Like WAF is like kind of like it isn't like blocking the like whichever, if you are any it is like web application, what we can say, to block the internet traffic, right? Like
Yes, protect your web application.
So is that it will help for even region based also? Is that actually what? Actually, what I studied, like WAF is like whenever we block something, which if any blocked IPs is coming in the web application, it will not allow into the traffic. It will not allow into that server. For regional based traffic, traffic, as we can use like this Route 53 or content delivery by using caches, storing the cache.
Hello.
Yes, Sandeep.
So what was the question?
Is that Nagareddy was said with you said right with the WAP we can restrict access from one content Indian users should not access like they should not access to the North Virginia servers. For in this case, WAP will not help right here.
Yes.
Uh, Nagareddy, you said something like that.
He is configured with the IPs. Okay. It is not globally. So if you are coming from the India, so it's asking allowing only Indian IPs, and specifically he is blocking with the other countries. Okay. If you are going with a content based serving the traffic, then you need to go with CloudFront. Okay.
Route 53 also we can use here, right?
Route 53 is just a DNS name. Okay.
Okay, in the Route 53 we have one policy, right?
Geolocation, yeah.
Geolocation policy.
Yeah, geolocation also we can do it. Suppose in geolocation, particularly I need to restrict particular region. Suppose in India I need to allow only Bangalore. Okay. My application only should access from the Bangalore, then I can go with the CloudFront. Particular region or global specific, I can use it with the CloudFront.
Okay.
Okay. Hello.
Yes, sir.
Yes, Sandeep, got it.
Yes, Sandeep, got it.
Okay, so now, okay, Nagarati, now you can ask questions to Niharika. See, daily ನಾನೇ ಕೇಳೋದ್ರಿಂದ ಅಟ್ಲೀಸ್ಟ್ ನೀವು ಕೇಳಿ ನಿಮ್ಗೂ ಒಂದ್ ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಕಾನ್ಫಿಡೆನ್ಸ್ ಬಿಲ್ಡ್ ಆಗ್ಲಿ ಓಕೆನಾ.
Yes, sir.
Yeah,
Yes, sir.
Sandeep, like for Nanagandre, like we need to practice like our introduction and day-to-day life. We have to practice. So for that,
Yeah,
we have to
that's one
take.
that I'm preparing. Like, so I will give you 3 to 4 different types. Okay, so how we are going to see it. That's what I told you right in the previous. So in one company they are going to follow the Jira. Some one companies will follow with the project. In one company they will follow with yeah, this one service now. So depending upon that, while I'm putting the projects right in the resume, on the
Yeah,
time I will tell you. So what you need to explain in the interview. Okay. Right
sure.
now we just go through the introduction. That is sufficient right now. So I will tell
Yeah,
you, like in the interviews in the manager round, if they ask you what is your day-to-day activities, how we are going to handle this type of situations. Okay. Suppose there is a production issue. So okay, what are the actions you will take? Those questions I will explain in the last while completing the resumes. I will explain it. Okay, because we
yeah,
need to create a one war room. So these are the things I will check it out. So what are things you need to follow when you are getting the production issue after deploying? The customers are reporting the issue. So how you are going to handle this? This manager questions I will tell you in detail. Okay, for everyone I will tell you. We are only 5 to 6 members, so again I need to tell. So once I will schedule a call to all others, so they will also align with them. Okay.
yeah. Because it's like we prepared ourselves for one self introduction, but we don't like confirm like whether it's right or like is there anything modification do for that. So if you tell in front of you, like you have to correct that thing. So for that
Yeah,
purpose,
that's
I'm
that one. We can take it from tomorrow. Okay. Introduction.
yeah,
Everyone, we can go through one introduction, like how you
So,
prepared. So you can just add your points into what I sent in the WhatsApp groups. Okay.
yeah,
So
sure.
you just add. So you should be tell whatever the points I mentioned in that message, right? So you
Yeah,
should include that one along with that. If you have any points, you can include. Like Sagar no Python. You can tell them
yeah,
like I have written a Python code to take a AMI backup in my project. In one project, I have written edge locations for CloudFront. Like that, you can tell. Okay. So
sure.
what now you know like SQL. If you want to include that SQL, you can include. In one project, I have set up a SQL database. So these are the things I have done. So while migrating from UAT, I want to dump that database to UAT. I have done this on Haley. Okay.
Okay,
So
okay,
these are what I sent that is related to only DevOps. Okay. If you want to add anything more, like whatever the tools you know, or you have some experience on other tools, also you can include. If it is related to technical,
DevOps. Okay.
technical, not DevOps, it is technical. Like I know JavaScript, Java, anything. Even though
Okay.
apart from DevOps, I know these things. Initially, I was working as a developer. Later, I moved to DevOps. Like these are the things I know. Another is
Sure. Like some of the IT skills you can mention. Okay.
IT skills. Yeah, you should be
Yeah.
technical only. Don't tell with
Sure.
others. Hmm?
Yeah. Got it. Got it.
Okay. Okay. Niharika and Agargi, both you can turn on your cameras and start asking. Nagar. Ask only the questions on AWS, Kubernetes, Docker, Terraform.
Okay. Niharika. I think you work on Kubernetes now. So yeah. Can you tell me the difference between pod affinity and pod anti affinity? Yeah, yeah. Can you tell me one or two use cases of pod affinity? So why exactly we using pod affinity? Yeah, you to, like as to tell some advantages, like it's improved some higher performance and it's reduced some latency because pod has to be sit beside each other now, so they're catching, so they has to deliver, so reducing latency also. Like coming to the anti affinity, like it's like a disaster recovery because we like a pod has to be distributed to the different nodes, so it's not with same node, so we can increase tolerance also. Yeah, we can do with help of that. Okay. Uh, can you tell me how do you secure our Docker image? So what are the steps you do follow?
Okay, tell me why
I
you are
can
going
add like
to pull Docker image from the trusted resource. What is the use? Why we need to download only from the trusted source? Tell me why we need to download only from the trusted source? What is the use? Why can't we use others?
no, it's basically if you pulling image from like official because of security risks to avoid any security risk, because if you pull image from like any out of public, it's maybe come on unnecessary dependencies, it that may be threat our applications or Docker image. So for that purpose we are always prepared for official, or you can say trusted one. Okay. Can you explain what are the auto scaling types do you work? Yeah, it's not ALB, it's basically ELB. So it's elastic load balancer only integrated with our auto scaling group. So it's based on the yeah, you mentioned ALB. It's type of load balancing. So it's not like that. Okay. Yeah. Can you tell me why exactly you're using Terraform models? Terraform models. Yeah, like we do using Terraform models now. So you remember the yeah. Mm, yeah, like even you have to add one or two advantages, like it's just reduce, avoid the duplication also, and like conflict also. We can avoid this with help of models. Okay. Did you use it, Docker as a Jenkins slave? So instead of Jenkins slave, we use a Docker now. So what the beneficial we using a container as a Jenkins? No, even you can tell like if you go for configure like Jenkins slave, it's take a lot of time. So if you go for container, it can reduce up to 70% of like configuration time there. And even you can say it's also reduce infrastructure cost, and it's also increase your build success rate, and reduce like build failure, all these things. And basically you can say it gives some higher performance and more security. And yeah, kind of scenario questions. Yeah, for that, because we have to configure like we have to follow a lot of steps way to configure that Jenkins slave. Okay. So did you know what exactly the Terraform stateful, how why like how you secure that your Terraform state file? Yeah, like my question is like if we were like stateful already in the backend, means you say it's S3 bucket only. So how do you secure that thing? So what are the steps you follow? No, for that we have to write a backend.tf file to make sure that has to move from local to remote. So that is done. So yeah, that is done. So it's already your file will be in the like remote in S3. So like someone has to be access your S3 na. So how do you restrict that things? Yeah, we can follow IAM policies to give restrict to other people has to be access only allowed to the only Terraform advisor has to be access and even has to encrypt it with the help of KMS. Now we can encrypt our data and even you can instead of storing your secret everything in the stateful, you can store it in a secret manager.
No, we can do.
No, okay. Okay, Niyarika. Thank you. I think Siddesh.
It's negative.
Did you work on S3? S3 service in
Yes.
AWS?
Yes.
Okay. Can you tell me what are the storage classes?
Yeah. First, coming to the definition to S3, it is a storage service. It is highly scalable, and then durable, and then a security object storage. Then coming to it can be store anything data. It can be files or any videos or some of the documents or anything. I can show, and then it is designed for 99.119. I think it will durability. And then coming to the S3 storage class, first we have S3 standard, and then intelligent tiering, and then standard IA, and then one zone IA, and then a glacier, and the glacier deep archive. So in the first S3 standard, it will be frequently accessed data. So and then intelligent tiering. So whenever unknown or variable access pattern, and then I will go for the intelligent tiering, and then standard IA, it will infrequent access data, and then like this we can go with the cost optimization using the S3 lifecycle, and then one zone we are in the one zone IA, and then glacier, and then glacier deep archival. Glacier and the glacier deep archival are very cheap, and we can store in the long term. Yes, this type I use the lifecycle policies in the S3.
Yeah, like in Glacier, basically we can go for Glaciers to store long terms. So it's giving very less cost. So in that we choosing a Glacier Deep Archive. So that is the one of the cheapest storage class we can choose if you go for up to more than 5 years of storage, your logs or anything.
Yes.
Okay. Okay. Can you tell me how do you secure your Jenkins?
Yeah, Jenkins security. I use the matrix-based mechanism to restrict some of the any users to access anything. I use the matrix-based security.
Yeah, like here we have to adding like users and we have to give some least privilege access. So by ticking the checkbox.
Yes, I always go with the least privilege access for the someone to secure our Jenkins.
Okay. Okay. Uh, then we have to go for why exactly we go for a Terraform? So what are the advantages of Terraform? So why you choosing Terraform?
Yeah, Terraform, it will basically so much of advantages. So Terraform we use, it will mainly support different across multiple platform, whether it is AWS, whether it is Azure, and then Google Cloud. So it support multi-cloud support, and then it will manages the infrastructure as a code. So once it will means infrastructure as a code, it will allows you to automate the provision and management of infrastructure in declarative using the code. So and then using the Terraform, we do the automations. Means there is no manual clicking in the cloud consoles, if any cloud platform consoles. So infrastructure can be deployed or modified in the seconds or within a minutes. It will reducing the risk of human error. So basically, it go with the automation. It will go means we use the means Terraform, and then it will follow the declarative syntax, and then coming to the reusability, we using the some of the models in the Terraform, we can reuse easily for our infrastructure, and then we can also my DevOps team also collaborated with a team. We can using the infra consistently. So these are the we can go with the Terraform. There are a lot
Okay,
of
so next question is like, so how you are going to make the base image, including your application and artifacts, to be become a deployable image?
so not getting, sir.
Okay,
How do
how do you make your base image and including your application and artifacts to become a deployable image?
deployable image? So the question ಅರ್ಥ ಆಗ್ಲಿಲ್ಲ sir.
Yeah.
So I'm asking like how to build a Docker image where the base
Okay.
image already includes your application plus artifacts.
In the build stage, I build the Docker images, the Jenkins pipeline.
So you need to explain what are the things we are writing in the Docker file. Okay, so we will pull the Docker image. Okay, so we'll set the working directory. We will copy the dependencies or source code. Then I will expose the particular port and I will use CMD and the entry point. Okay, so these things you need to explain. If the same question, they will ask in a different. Like, what are the steps you will include inside the Docker file to create a final image from the base image?
Images.
Okay, so you can start with the base image, copy application code, install dependencies, set up environment variables, expose the required code, and set the CMD or entry point and produce the final base image. I mean, final deployable image. See, both are the same. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Okay. Can you tell me what are the internal process for deploying to Kubernetes? How does the end user access our application?
So Kubernetes, we have different services to access our applications. So whenever we having the services like a cluster IP, this is used for the internal access. And then in the load balancer, whenever our applications to access outside the world, we are in the node port, load balancer, and then ingress resources.
No. Okay, Sagar.
So in the Kubernetes deployment services, so in the Kubernetes deployment services, so we expose like the application will run inside the pods. So that now we need to expose that to outside the world. So in that way, to get it for the end user. So in that way, particularly we can use like the cluster IP. This is the default service type. It exposes the application within the cluster. So on the like internal IP. So other services like the pod inside the cluster, it can access it, but it's not accessible from the outside. This we use because like we can be having some credentials or like we know like Postgres services. So if I'm using that, I cannot expose that to the outside. No. So to save that, only that I will secure that and I will run in the cluster IP. So if I am using the load balancer, so in this like we have that cloud providers like we have AWS, ELB, and the load balancer, and even we have the GPCs. So in that, we route the external traffic to the ports. So here the end users can directly access the application through the load balancer using the external IP or DNS. So, and even we can use the ingress also, like so instead of exposing like every services, so we don't need to make it separately, like for the for like if we have the two Redis and the Elasticsearch and some Ruby application. So we wanted to take it into the one controller. So, and this will allow the this will allow us to expose for the end user by like end user can access the application via just a single domain only. So like this we can make this.
Okay, so in this case, the interviewer wants to know how you are going to configure your CI/CD and how the Kubernetes knows the deployment. All those things you need to explain. Like I will tell you. On
Okay.
brief, I will tell you. Okay. So when
Okay.
the interviewer asks you about this question, how the Kubernetes works internally and how the end user. So these type of questions will ask by Infosys, Wipro. Okay. So they in these type of companies, they will only ask you on top of their tools. Okay. This is
Okay.
very simple. Like whenever a developer pushes the code, so it will trigger our Jenkins pipeline. So CI/CD will build our Docker image. So if you want to include your CI/CD steps, you can include here. Okay. So I will clone the repository. I will do linting, unit test cases, and then I will build the Docker image and I will scan it through Drivey. Okay. And then I will push out the Docker image to ECR or ACR. Okay. So I have made a service connection or your what we call in Jenkins, what we call the connection between Jenkins and the Kubernetes. We have installed our plugins. So I will return a manifest file in such a way that I have written to run as a container as a non-root user, and I will include readiness and liveness flows, and I also include rolling update. I will also include security context. All those things I will return. So when the deployment stage triggers, so our Kubelet will try to communicate with the API server. Then API server processes your request. Okay. So API server authenticates and validates your request. It stores the desired state. Like then scheduler assigns the pods to the nodes. Like Kubernetes scheduler decides which node should run which each pod. So scheduler will consider CPU, RAM, resource, everything. So kubelets will create the pods like it will pull the Docker image from the registry, it will create and starts the container inside the pod. Okay. So then we will write a service. So in this case, I will go with the ingress controller because it's have a more advantage. Like we can do path-based routing and domain-based routing also we can do, and also it will support SSL termination. So in this case, I will go with the ingress controller. So we will also create a DNS name for our application. So in the DNS, we will put like endpoint as a IP address of Nginx controller. So whenever users click on our website, it will route through rig service, and service will connect to your application. Okay. So the interviewer wants to know the CI/CD and the architecture of Kubernetes and service and how we are going to extend the DNS. So all the questions is covered right in this.
Yeah. Sandeep, can you repeat that question,
Yes.
Sandeep? Like what exactly
Okay.
question?
So
Yeah.
what are the internal process for deploying to Kubernetes? Okay. And how does the end user access our application? So how does internal process work? Because we can tell them like so we can write a deployment file and we can directly manually we can do it. But their expectation is to we need to tell with them, I mean we need to answer with CI/CD only. That is what their expectation. Understood?
Okay. Okay.
I can tell like
Yes.
I will write a deployment, I can use kubectl apply. But that is not going to work because they should know how you integrate in the CI/CD. Because in this case, see, you can tell them with Docker service connection, right? So how you are going to integrate your Jenkins with ECR, and how you are going to integrate your Kubernetes with Jenkins, and also you can tell them with how we are going to integrate SonarQube. So this question will cover almost all the tools. Understood? So you need to be answer at least for 10 minutes. See, ಇದೆಲ್ಲ ನೀವು ಮಾಡಿರೋದಲ್ವಾ, ಕ್ಯೂಬರ್ನೆಟಿಸ್ ನೀವು ಮಾಡಿದೀರಾ, ಜೆಂಕಿನ್ಸ್ ನ ಮಾಡಿದೀರಾ, ಆರ್ಕಿಟೆಕ್ಚರ್ ಗೊತ್ತು. ಓಕೆ, ಹೆಂಗ್ ಗೊತ್ತಾಗುತ್ತೆ? ನೀವು ಕ್ಯೂಬ್ ಸಿಟಿಯಲ್ಲಿ ಅಪ್ಲೈ ಫೈಲ್ ಏನ್ ಕೊಟ್ರೆ ಹೆಂಗ್ ಕಮ್ಯುನಿಕೇಟ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ? ಕ್ಯೂಬ್ ಸಿಟಿಯಲ್ಲಿ API ಸರ್ವರ್ ಹತ್ರ ಕನೆಕ್ಟ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. ಸೊ API ಸರ್ವರ್ ಪ್ರೊಸೆಸ್ ರಿಕ್ವೆಸ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡುತ್ತೆ. If it is some CI/CD, so we need authentication. Correct?
Yes,
So that's why we are putting we are in Azure DevOps, we are going with service connection as a service account, either with your Azure Resource Manager. So ನೀವ್ ಹೆಂಗ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೀರಾ ಜೆಂಕಿನ್ಸ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ? ಈ ಕೇಸಿಗೆ ಕನೆಕ್ಟ್ ಆಗ್ಬೇಕಂದ್ರೆ ಏನ್ ತರ ಕನೆಕ್ಷನ್ ಎಸ್ಟಾಬ್ಲಿಷ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೀರಾ? You will also create a service connection, right?
Yeah, service connection. But though like we write in that pipeline, we mention the flow of that services.
Yeah, that's what like. So you will use the service connection name in your Jenkins pipeline, right? So which service
Yes.
you should be used in your deployment? Okay. So for that, to establish a connection with Jenkins and the Kubernetes, so you will use service account, right? Service account or what you are using? ಯಾವ ತರ ಎಸ್ಟಾಬ್ಲಿಷ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರೆ ಹೇಳಿ.
ಸೊ ಇವಾಗ ನಾವು ಅದನ್ನ ಈಗ ನಾನು ಎಕ್ಸಾಂಪಲ್ ಇಫ್ ಐ ಆಮ್ ಡೂಯಿಂಗ್ ಲೈಕ್ ಇವಾಗ ಇಂಗ್ಲಿಷ್ ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರೆ ನಾನು ಅದನ್ನ ಇಂಗ್ಲಿಷ್ ನಲ್ಲೇ ನಾನು ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಡಿಫೈನ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೀನಿ ಜೆಂಕಿನ್ ಫೈಲ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ. ಸೊ
ಫೈಲ್ ಬಿಡಿ, ಈಗ ನಾನು ಕ್ಯೂಬ್ ಸಿಟಿಯಲ್ಲಿ ಅಪ್ಲೈ -F ನಂದೊಂದು ಫೈಲ್ ಇದೆ ಗಿಟಬ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ. ಓಕೆ, ಜೆಂಕಿನ್ಸ್ ಕ್ಲೋನ್ ಮಾಡ್ತು. ಈ ಫೈಲ್ ನನಗೆ ಕ್ಯೂಬರ್ನೆಟಿಸ್ ಅಪ್ಲೈ ಮಾಡ್ಬೇಕಂದ್ರೆ ಸರ್ವಿಸ್ ಕನೆಕ್ಷನ್ ಹೆಂಗೆ ಎಸ್ಟಾಬ್ಲಿಷ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೀರಾ? ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಕ್ಯೂಬರ್ನೆಟಿಸ್ಗೆ ಹೆಂಗೆ ಕನೆಕ್ಷನ್ ಕ್ರಿಯೇಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೀರಾ? You're not getting my point.
we are writing some YAML file, right? Service.
So service is okay. Service is for your deployment. I am asking, like your Kubernetes, when you will write kubectl apply -F file name, right? In your Jenkins file.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. So you should not apply in your Jenkins. You should apply to your cluster. So how we are going to make a connection between Jenkins and the Kubernetes? That's what my question.
So okay. So in Jenkins pipelines, after executing that, like so the Kubernetes, like the API server will create the service object. So on
API server connection ಆದ್ರೆ ತಾನೇ ನೀವು ಹಿಂಗ್ ಕನೆಕ್ಷನ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೀರಾ ಅನ್ನೋದೇ ನನ್ನ ಕ್ವಶನ್.
So we need to install plugin like Kubernetes plugin to configure with the Jenkins.
So what are the things you will configure? So you install Kubernetes plugin. Then what are the things you will configure in Kubernetes plugin?
So if I make with the EKS means I do configure with AWS credentials. So I need to add AWS credentials with access key and secret access key. So then I have to like even I have to install kubectl and AWS CLI.
Okay, in your Jenkins. To install in your slave machine, right? So it's AWS CLI and the Jenkins.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Kubelet will be installed in your Jenkins.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. So we create a service account. Yeah, we create the service account in the Kubernetes so that we will.
So you will copy that secrets into your Jenkins, right?
Yes, right.
So ಅದೇ ನನ್ನ ಕ್ವಶನ್. ಅದನ್ನ ಸರ್ವಿಸ್ ಕನೆಕ್ಷನ್ ಅಜೂರ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಹೇಳ್ತೀನಿ. ಸೊ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ನೀವೇನ್ ಹೇಳ್ತೀರಾ, ಇಟ್ಸ್ ಅ ಪ್ಲಗಿನ್, right? So by default in Azure DevOps, so we'll create. So why we are creating service connection means if I allow deployment to any namespace by mistakenly someone deployed to some other namespace, okay, so it will be causing problem, right? So what we will do, so we will create a service account to the particular namespace. So the particular namespace, I will attach a role and role binding. Okay. So to create a config, suppose I need in the namespace A, I don't want to configure any secrets. Okay. No one should deploy to secrets through Jenkins pipeline. So I will configure, I will write a service service account. For that, I will create a role and I will do the role binding. Okay. So everyone know how to write a role and role binding and service account, right?
Yeah, like
we have done this practically.
Where to write a role.
That is not a big deal. Like you need to In the role, we need to kind is equal to role, and in the metadata, we need to
Yes.
we need to specify the role and the resource like config map. We need to specify config map, and we need to specify in the bracket like list, delete, create, events. Those things we can mention. Okay.
Yes, Sandeep.
ಸಿ ನಾನು ಏನ್ ಕೇಳಿದ್ದೀನೋ ಈ ಕ್ವಶನ್ಸ್ ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಡಿಫ್ರೆಂಟ್ ಆಗಿ ಕೇಳ್ತಾರೆ ಅಷ್ಟೇ. ಓಕೆ, ಸೊ ದೇ ಆರ್ ನಾಟ್ ಗೋಯಿಂಗ್ ಟು ಆಸ್ಕ್ ಇನ್ ಡೈರೆಕ್ಟ್ ವೇ. ಓಕೆ.
Yeah, basically like service account, we have to always configure with RBAC as a role. So we have to restrict what exactly the pod has to be do.
ವಿಚ್ ಒನ್?
Like service account.
Service account.
ಸರ್ವಿಸ್ ಅಕೌಂಟ್.
Like the service account, we have to always integrate with RBAC. Role and role.
Yes, we need to introduce. Otherwise, how that service account to know what I need to do?
Yeah.
Yes, yes.
If you created a service account, if you not specified, you created a user, you are not specified any roles and policies. So will that user able to access any resource? No, because you know not attached anything to that particular user, right? Same way, service account is nothing but a user in your Kubernetes. Okay, so for that user, I need to specify the permission. That is called role. Role binding means, so whom should I give this permission? That is called role binding. ಈಗ ಸರ್ವಿಸ್ ಅನ್ನೋದು ಒಂದು ಹೆಸರು ಸಂದೀಪ್ ಅನ್ಕೊಳ್ಳಿ. ಓಕೆ, ರೋಲ್ ಅನ್ನೋದು ಒಂದು ಪರ್ಮಿಷನ್ ಲಿಸ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡಕ್ಕೆ ಅನ್ಕೊಳ್ಳಿ. ರೋಲ್ ಬೈಂಡಿಂಗ್ ಅನ್ನೋದು ಈ ಲಿಸ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡೋದನ್ನ ಯಾರಿಗೆ ಕೊಡ್ಬೇಕು? ಸಂದೀಪಿಗೆ ಕೊಡ್ಬೇಕು. ರೋಲ್ ಬೈಂಡಿಂಗ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಸ್ಪೆಸಿಫೈ ಮಾಡ್ತೀವಿ ವಿಚ್ ಸರ್ವಿಸ್ ಅಕೌಂಟ್ ಐ ನೀಡ್ ಟು ಗಿವ್ ದಿಸ್ ಪರ್ಮಿಷನ್. ಓಕೆ, ಅಂಡರ್ಸ್ಟುಡ್?
Yes, Sandeep. ಇದು ಎಸ್ಟರ್ಡೇ ನನಗೆ ಕೇಳಿದ್ರು ಕ್ವಶನ್. ಸೊ ನಾನು ಅದನ್ನ ಪ್ರಾಕ್ಟಿಕಲ್ ಮಾಡಿದಾಗ, ಸೊ ಅದನ್ನ ಕೋಡ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ API ಗ್ರೂಪ್ಸ್ ಅಂತ ಒಂದಿತ್ತು. ಸೊ ರೂಲ್ಸ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ನಾವು ರೂಲ್ ಸೆಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಿದ್ವಿ, ಲೈಕ್ API ಗ್ರೂಪ್ಸ್ ಕೆಳಗಡೆ ರಿಸೋರ್ಸ್ ಮತ್ತೆ ವರ್ಬ್ಸ್ ಅಂತ ಇತ್ತು. ಸೊ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ವರ್ಬ್ಸ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಲೈಕ್ ವಾಚ್, ಕ್ರಿಯೇಟ್, ಅಪ್ಡೇಟ್, ಡಿಲೀಟ್ ಅಂತ ಮೆನ್ಷನ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೀವಿ. ರಿಸೋರ್ಸಸ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಲೈಕ್ ರಿಸ್ಟ್ರಿಕ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡಕ್ಕೆ ಲೈಕ್ ಡೆಪ್ಲಾಯ್ಮೆಂಟ್ಸ್, ರೆಪ್ಲಿಕಾ ಸೆಟ್ಸ್ ಅಂತ ಮೆನ್ಷನ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೀವಿ. ಮತ್ತೆ ಆ ಗ್ರೂಪ್ API ಗ್ರೂಪ್ಸ್ ಇರುತ್ತಲ್ಲ ಅಲ್ಲಿಗೆ ಅಪ್ಲಿಕೇಶನ್ ಲೈಕ್ ನೇಮ್ ಬರಿತೀವಿ. ಸೊ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಅವಾಗ ಅದು ರಿಸ್ಟ್ರಿಕ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡುತ್ತೆ ಲೈಕ್ ರೋಲ್ ನೇಮ್ ಸ್ಪೇಸ್ ಲೆವೆಲ್ ಪರ್ಮಿಷನ್.
ಹೌದು.
ಸೊ ನಿನ್ನೆ ನನಗೆ ಇದು ಕೇಳಿದಾಗ ಟ್ರೈ ಮಾಡಿದ್ದೆ.
ಯಾವ ಕಂಪ್ನಿ?
ಇಲ್ಲ, ನಿನ್ನೆ ಇವ್ರು ಕೇಳಿದ್ರು ನನಗೆ, ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಕ್ವಶನ್ ಕೇಳಿದ್ರಲ್ಲ QA ಅಲ್ಲಿ. ಇವರು ಎಸ್ಟರ್ಡೇ
ರಾಕೇಶ್ ಅವರ?
ರಾಕೇಶ್
ನಾನು PUC ಎಲ್ಲಾದ್ರೂ ಅಟೆಂಡ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ದೀವಿ?
ಇಲ್ಲ ಇಲ್ಲ ಇಲ್ಲ. ಸೊ ಎಸ್ಟರ್ಡೇ ಇವ್ರು ಕೇಳಿದಾಗ ನೋಡ್ಕೊಂಡಿದ್ದೆ.
Yes sir, he is asking some good questions for interview.
ಅದನ್ನ ತೋರಿಸ್ತೀನಿ, ಎಲ್ಲಿದೆ ಅದು? ಓಕೆ, ತೋರಿಸ್ತೀನಿ ಅದು. ಇದೊಂದು ವಾಟ್ಸಪ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಹಾಕಿದೀನಿ ನೋಡಿ. ಇದು ತೆಗಿರಿ. ಫಸ್ಟ್ ಒನ್ ಇರೋದು ನೇಮ್, ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಸರ್ವಿಸ್ ಅಕೌಂಟ್ ನೇಮ್ ಅಷ್ಟೇ. ಯಾವ ನೇಮ್ ಸ್ಪೇಸ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಕ್ರಿಯೇಟ್ ಆಗಬೇಕು, ವಿಚ್ ನೇಮ್ ಸ್ಪೇಸ್ ದಿಸ್ ಸರ್ವಿಸ್ ಅಕೌಂಟ್ ಶುಡ್ ಬಿ ಕ್ರಿಯೇಟ್. ಸೆಕೆಂಡ್ ಒನ್ ಇಸ್ ದ ನೇಮ್ ಆಫ್ ಯುವರ್ ಸರ್ವಿಸ್ ಅಕೌಂಟ್. ಇನ್ ದ ಬಾಟಮ್ ಐ ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ರಿಟರ್ನ್ ಎ ರೋಲ್. For role, I am just giving the Azure DevOps full role. That means it's a name only. Okay. In the name, I am specifying the namespace also. Okay. So namespace is whatever you want to create, you can specify that. Here rules. Okay. For deployment, apps, resources, deployment, replica sets. So what is the permission? Like verbs means permissions. Get, list, watch, create, update, patch. Next, service. What are the things that service account can do? Get, list, watch, create, update, and patch. Config maps also same. Secrets. Next, horizontal podding. Like whatever the requirement comes to you, those things should be mentioned in the service account. Why I'm not do it in like I have not added any delete option, because even though by default, if someone has created a manifest. In that manifest file, in the pipeline, they mentioned kubectl delete file. Deployment name and the namespace. It should not delete. That's why I'm not mentioned delete option. Understood? Even though by mistakenly if someone trigger the pipeline, it will not, I'm sure it is not going to delete any service or any HPA or any deployment into your Kubernetes. Got it?
Yeah, Sandeep.
In the interview, you can tell like I only give only list, watch, update and create. I will not mention any delete option because even though if it is someone has misconfigured also, it is not going to delete our deployments. That's why I keep it like in the roles. I will only give permission to list, watch, create. Okay, that's what I mentioned. Okay. In the role binding, what I will do, so that's not maybe, so you will get an idea at least. So share ಮಾಡಬಹುದಾಯ್ತು, ನನಗೊಂದು ಮೇಲ್ ಬರ್ತಾ ಇದೆ, ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ಅದು ಶೇರ್ ಮಾಡಿಲ್ಲ. Yeah. Open that second photo I sent you, right? So in that second, like I'm just adding the role binding. I'm giving the name of the role binding, Azure DevOps full role binding, namespace where I need to create a namespace, subject. For which service account I need to add? I'm just specifying service account, the name of the service account, and here I'm just giving the namespace role reference is equal to the role is here. This is the role, right? First one. Second, after 3 dots, I have defined. What is the role name I have defined here?
I think your screen is
full
not
role.
visible. Sandeep, you are
Yes,
sharing.
Screenshot in the group.
Yeah, I
Nope,
shared in the
that's
group. Sorry, I have not shared.
Jairam, check in the group.
Okay. Yeah. Sure. Yeah, sorry, Sandeep. Please continue.
See, first screenshot, just I'm defining what is the service account name. In the second, what are the things that service account can do. In the third one, how this service account know what are the things should be followed. I'm defining the role binding. Come to the namespace where you should create. I'm just giving this name for this role binding. In Kubernetes, for each object, we will go with the name, correct? If you're going to give deployment, so we are going to give a pod name inside the metadata. After that, I will give a particular container name. Suppose, think like I have 2 containers are running in a one pod, so how I need to log in? So for that purpose, we will specify the container name. Okay. In my case, only one container is running, so I'm just keep it like whatever the pod name I'm giving, same name I'm giving to container. Okay. See, in the second screenshot I sent you, right? So in the subject, what I given service account, name of the service account. This is the namespace you can refer. So what are the roles you should follow? I have defined it. Kind is equal to role, the name, and the API group. This is API group. Leave it like according to this will change. This one is Azure DevOps full role. If you come to the first screenshot, I have mentioned the same name, and I am defining in the role binding. You understood?
Yes, Sandeep.
So this may ask in the interview. Okay. So they will ask you to write it also. At least if you are not following any indentation, at least you should know how to write it. Okay. They may ask you like how that service account will know which are the permission it will give. So that I will write a role binding for that. In the role binding, in the subject, I will specify the name and the namespace. In the role reference, I will give the name of the role which I defined which I written in the manifest. Okay. Understood?
Yes, Sandeep.
Yes, Sandeep.
Okay.
So cluster and cluster role, it's the same. Cluster and cluster role binding.
Cluster
And cluster role binding.
So if you are admin, see, I'm not an admin here. So the admin will be take care because here I'm working for the client project. So whatever the on cluster level basis, that will be taken care by the architect in our company. Maybe when you join to your company, they may ask you to write a cluster role. So I told you, right? So yesterday I have given one task. Suppose 100 developers needs to access only list of parts. So then I will go with the cluster role and the config map. Okay. ಯಾರನ್ನ ಇಂಪ್ಲಿಮೆಂಟ್ ಮಾಡಿದೀರಾ? At least 2 to 3 members create ಮಾಡಿ.
No, Sandeep.
Okay, you can try it. Okay, so for that I will create IAM role. Then I will attach that role to the group. Then I will go in the Kubernetes. In the Kubernetes, I will write a cluster role. In the cluster role, I will reference the config map. In the config map, what I will return? So which group should access these permissions? Okay. Then those permissions will attach to your IAM user. Okay. ನಾನೇನೇ ಗೊತ್ತಾಯ್ತಾ ಅಥವಾ ನಿಮ್ಗೆ ಅರ್ಥ ಆಗಲಿಲ್ವಾ ನಾ ಹೇಳಿದ್ದು?
ಅರ್ಥ ಆಯ್ತು ಸಂದೀಪ್.
But you have to give some questions ಕೊಡಿ ಸಂದೀಪ್. So like we have to try it like in practical.
ಸರ್ ಅದನ್ನೇ ಟೆಸ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡಿ ಹೆಂಗ್ ಕೇಳ್ಬೋದು ಸರ್ ಅದು?
ಇಲ್ಲ, ಇದು ಜನರಲ್ ಆಗಿ ಇದೇ ಕೇಳ್ತಾರೆ. ಈಗ ಒಂದು 10 ಜನ ಲಿಸ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡಕ್ ಕೇಳ್ತಾರೆ. ಆಸ್ ಸಮ್ ಟ್ರೈನಿಂಗ್ಸ್ ಇರ್ತಾರೆ. ಐ ಜಸ್ಟ್ ವಾಂಟ್ ಟು give only to watch whether the part is running or not. Those things. So it can leave the logs, should not delete anything. Okay. So at that time I will give the permission like list, watch, and create. I will not give them with a delete option. Okay. Same. It's like a same IAM role only. Or IAM policy. Okay. So in most of the important question is like when I'm going to update Kubernetes upgradation, so what will happen? Okay. So these are the general questions I asked you so many times. You can go through it. Okay. So you need to be prepared on this. This is the most common question in every company they are going to ask you. So same question, how they will ask you like user has a create permission but can't list the parts. Okay. So how we are going to troubleshoot? Can anyone tell me? Sagar, you can go.
Sandeep, I missed the question, Sandeep. Sorry.
Okay. See, user has a create permission. Okay. He's not able to list the parts. So how we are going to troubleshoot? Same question like I am asking in a troubleshooting way.
So basically, we need to restrict.
Yeah, you restricted, but my question is how we are going to check
Okay,
whether.
so we will check that we check the namespace. Like if with the namespace which we are while using the role binding, either we given the namespace is correct or not. So that like that user they don't. Sometimes it will be like default permissions. So that will make sure that if it is not in default. So and we can check that. Like the cluster role, as we mentioned, the cluster role binding. So if that cluster is accessible, access is needed or not. So then we verify that role binding using like the name of that. So we describe that role binding and the name and the namespace. So when we give the describe, so then it will show all that subject of that. The namespace of the role binding, like the name of that, and basically that user directly mapped or not, it will tell us. So and again we can check the uh, and we can check that administration control also. So in that the cluster policies like cloud security or like network policy, that also it may block. So
Network
that
policy
also,
will not come here, Sagar. See, my question is very simple. See, user in one namespace, he can able to access, he can able to create, list, delete everything. But in another namespace, he is not able to list. He is able to create. So my question is how we are going to troubleshoot.
okay. So, but I am not getting Sandeep.
User may
Okay, so
not
I will
have
tell you.
full access.
So by checking the permission, we have a command. Okay, even I am also forget like kubectl auth something is there. Okay, you need to
Yeah,
list.
yeah. That I know. kubectl auth and the create deployment. So, and inside that, like we can mention like as system, that service account and our name of that namespace. And by this also, this I know, Sandeep.
Yeah,
Like
kubectl auth something is there.
auth,
Like you need to
yeah,
specify
auth
the
can
username and the
hyphen I.
namespace. If the
Yes.
output is no, then there is no restriction. Then you need to troubleshoot with the cluster role. Like if it is not able to list in all other namespaces, then definitely have an access. Suppose yes, then I will inspect the role by using kubectl get role binding hyphen a, like grep and the username. If it is like for all other namespace, I will go with the cluster role binding. Okay. Then inspect the role. kubectl describe the role and check verb and the meaning. Okay. You need to specify whether the user has this verb. If you are not specifying any create option in your verb, then check you need to add some role and you need to reapply. Then the user can able to list or create the part. Okay.
Okay.
So this is how
Yeah,
we are
yeah.
going to troubleshoot. If he is not able to he is not able to list any ports in any spaces, then I will go with the cluster role. Because the role and role binding will be scoped for only the namespaces. Cluster role is for entire Kubernetes.
Mhm.
Okay. Okay. Sagar, now you can ask to Jairam.
Okay. Hi, Jairam.
Hi, Sagar.
Yeah. So, like in your application, so someone, your teammate, so apply Terraform destroy accidentally.
Okay.
So, what it may cause and how you can prevent that?
Okay, to prevent for destroy, we can use like this like we can use that prevent destroy equal to true. So if you give this like the users like we are unable to delete whatever the infrastructure we can do. If by accidentally if we didn't give this prevent destroy equal to true, then if anyone is deleted by accidentally, then we can uh, uh, from here we have like our state file backend we have, right? From there
Yeah.
it is a like version control, so from there we can back up that state file and we can reuse that code.
Rollback.
Yes.
So now, if you need to manage development, staging, and production environments, so with the Terraform, so like how you will start designing this?
I'm sorry, could you please repeat again?
So now, like you need to manage like dev, like development and staging and production environments.
Okay.
So with the Terraform, so like how you will design this?
Okay. For this, I go for Terraform workspaces.
Yeah.
For each dev UAT and staging, like whatever the environments we required, for each environment, I create an for each workspace, and here for each workspace, it will not be like interact like it will not be conflict with other works like other workspace or other environment. So for each environment, I'll create a different workspace and I'll manage in this way.
Yeah. So basically, we maintain separate state files for the like each environments. We
Yes,
can
for each
add this.
workspace, it will create different state file, and it will not be like it, we won't get any conflict by using like this.
Yeah. So like now, if in your project like multiple team members are working with the Terraform, so on that time, like how you will ensure that the state file is secured?
Multiple team members are working.
So multiple team members are working in the Terraform, like in our project. So how do we ensure that like Terraform state file is secured?
like for state file secure means like here I will use DynamoDB to log that state file to access only limited users, and for security like so in the same team means like all this for the same team means like I go for with the DynamoDB by using state log. Only that particular user can access at the same time, like multiple users cannot access.
Yeah, like if what if like the multiple team members are working?
Like you are telling, okay, in the same team or multiple teams. If it is
Yeah,
multiple
multiple
teams,
team.
teams means like for each team, I'll use here access control. I'll use restrict the by using IAM policies, and I'll restrict the access by team. For each state file, like there should not be access for this. So we usually create by IAM roles, right? For while we are creating any Terraform infrastructure. So it will not be interact with other team, like the other team will not access by using the IAM roles policies we attach.
Yeah, right. And one more, like you can add and we can enable the version so we can roll back if the state file get corrupted also.
Yeah, here you ask for security, right? That is for
Yeah.
a different scenario. Like if it is deleted means like we go for the backup that from S3 to recover.
Yes. So like in the Docker, so like you can if someone ask like why we should use the Docker instead of VM, so like how you will explain this? Why
Like
we should use Docker instead of VM?
yes, why we using Docker means like in the VM, whenever a developer writes a code in the VM, so there will be like multiple multiple issues will come, like because when the developer writes a code in the VM, and he may write in the code in the OS, like something you can take as an Windows, and maybe his Windows libraries are different or OS libraries are different. So whenever he go and test with the same code with the tester or with a different developer, his Windows may be configured with the different libraries, and his OS version may be different. And one more, whenever we go for the VM, it will take like the space limit is very high. For each OS, it will take almost we should have minimum 25 or 30 GB should be available for VMs, and it will take more space. And in the VM, whenever we restart the applications, and whenever we do this, it will take a long time, and it will mainly it's taking more space consumption, and the code also it will be not flexible while running from one VM to the another VM. So to overcome this issue, we go with Docker. What Docker will do, right here, we create a Docker file, and in the Docker file, whatever the dependencies we required for the Docker image, and we'll mention all the Docker images in the Docker file, and we'll build our Docker image. So we can use that same Docker file with multiple, like even the tester, and the same image we can test with the different engineers and developers also. It will work fine because here we using the whatever the dependencies it is required we use. So it will be lightweight, and we know it will it will be like in MB, like here our image will application will start and stop up is very fast, and it is not dependent on host OS. So yeah, these are the main differences.
Okay. So, suppose, see, when the container is deleted, so data is lost. So, on the time, how we persist the data?
I'm sorry. I just checked with my video. Okay, could you please repeat again? I
So,
was working with my
sometimes,
video, and I'm
yeah,
checking this.
yeah. So, when sometimes the container is deleted and the data is also lost. So, on the time, how we do persist the data?
Okay, container is deleted, and in that
Data is lost. Yeah.
okay. Mm,
We use volumes.
yeah. Like when this one I'm not like whenever we delete the container, is that volume will not be delete or only the container it will be delete?
No. I am asking. See, now when the container is deleted, so data will be also it will lose the data. No, so like
Yes.
how we can persist the data? So by using the volumes, we can save that the data. So for example, if we are using the PostgreSQL, so all the data will be stored. So on that time, we create the volumes. So by the command like docker volume create, we create the volume. So on that time, we mount that like we just mount that for the host directory mapping, so that like when we can directly we can run that docker run ifnd that whatever like we have that image name which is mounted. If we run that, so all the data will be secured here, like so that through that data we can run the docker image.
Okay.
Basically, I
Okay.
asked the question is like how the docker volumes will work.
Okay, okay. How the Docker volumes will work? Like here,
Yeah.
uh, volumes is like we mainly use for like as you said to store the volumes whatever we Dockers. So one we use for the testing and development purpose. That is host volume we use for the if you want any testing and for development purpose. And whenever we create a Docker, so by default we have a default value is right named value. Sorry, then the value name is like um, just the default value which is managed by the Docker. So the default path will come where lib and Docker values. And one more we can go for the TMPFS, which whenever we want for the temporary storage location, like temporary storage, then we use here TMPFS for temporary storage. Whenever the container restart, the data whichever it is stored, it will delete. So for the purpose, we use the different value.
Yeah. So basically, this is like the just persistent persistent storage mechanism. So that will allows the data to exit the it will exist like the life cycle of the container. So we can like whatever you said is right. But my question was like I asked you in the other way.
Okay.
So like your application has a backend and front end also. So like how we will run them together? Like front end as a dependency of the backend. So
Okay.
on that time, how we will run them in the together in the Docker?
Okay. The backend is dependent on the front end application.
Yeah.
Okay.
So you cannot just run only the one application. So it has dependency of the front end also.
Okay. Here I'll use uh, like one minute.
Mm.
Overlay container we want to use like for the container
Oh.
communication.
And that time we write Docker compose file.
Okay.
So
Docker compose. Okay.
yeah. So
To
that
run multiple containers. Yeah. Okay.
yes. So we use
Sagar,
Docker
here
compose.
we write the separate backend Docker file and then separate front
No.
end
See,
Docker
my
file.
question is like both the services are dependent, like front end and the back end are dependent. So both applications should run in the containers will be having the dependencies. So on that time we write the Docker compose file. So on the time the when we write the Docker compose file, both the services, so both the containers will be in the one compose file. So when we just run the Docker compose up, so both the services will be on the up, like the container will be on up. So it will be like dependency. Both will be running together.
Yeah, understand. But understand, Sagar. We use your Docker compose to run
Yeah.
multiple containers, and as you said, yes, correct.
Okay. Next question. Like Uh, what are the pod security policies we have in Kubernetes?
Parts security policies.
Security policies we have.
The same question, you know this one. If I answer you, then you will come to know.
Like part security policies mean policy like we use the part right part should not be run the non-root user run
Yes.
container as a non-root user. If it is running as a root user, part security policy, what it will do, it will try to stop the container. And one more, it will do what it will do, like whenever your part is exposing to the host, and then part security policy, what it will do, right, it will try to stop that exposing to the host.
Okay.
I know these two security policies.
Yeah. See, security policies will come like a two categories.
Yes.
Okay. Two or three, like if you're going with the volume, right now in our project, so we are going with the two policies. One is privilege and escalation control. So setting will be the privilege. Okay, so we can allow or deny. Allow privilege escalation. So prevent access from gain more privileges. So we will mention like deny. Allow capabilities. We will mention like a true. So I showed you right one YAML file. Hello.
Yes, Sandeep.
Yes, yes, Sandeep.
So require drop capabilities, so we will mention like true. And run as a non-root user, like a user, like run as a user, I will do it as a true. I will put it like a true. Then if you are going with namespaces, like allow pass to access host process ID. Oh, this one is not used. I'm telling, but most of the times we'll use only two things. One is privilege, one is allow privilege escalation, allowed capabilities, require drop capabilities, and run as a user, run as a group. So these things we can mention in your part security policy. Okay. So they may ask you in a different way, like how you are going to secure a part. They may ask you this question. So what are the part security policies we can use or we have in Kubernetes? They may ask you. Don't get confused, okay?
Okay.
Okay. So next question. So I'm just checking like see these questions you already know, like what is the difference between CMD, entry point, dongling image, add and copy. Okay, these are very in any interviews they may ask you these questions. Any interview
Yes,
as a
sir.
DevOps.
If you ask this direct question nowadays, we can tell any time. Its privilege like so high. So yeah,
And also make sure you should be able to write Jenkins file. You should be able to write multi-stage Docker file. Okay. You should be able to write deployment, service, role binding, everything. If I ask you in your dream also, you need to be able to write these files. Okay. Make a very good practice. Okay. And you should know, and also you should not need to know what are the things you are mentioning in your deployment, right? Each line you should be explained. While writing, you need to explain like this is the API version I'm going to use. Kind is equal to what type of object I'm using in a Kubernetes. Next, I am a metadata, so I'm specifying the name of your pod. Next, I will specify the template. In the template, I'm just telling like which image you should use, what is the name of the image, and what is the replica set you should use. Those all things will be specified in the spec. These things should be explained while writing your deployment. Okay. And also in Docker file, if they ask you to write Docker file, you need to mention this is the from. From is nothing but what it will do. It will download the base image from the Docker Hub. Next, we will need to write working directory. Working directory we used to set what is the working directory inside the container. Then what is the mean by copy? So we need to copy all the source into your Docker container. Then I will go with like whatever things you will write, right? So those things you need to be explain it very clearly while writing the Docker file or while writing the Jenkins file. You need to mention at least you should know how to write Jenkins file outer line. Okay.
yes, sir. Here in the Docker file we use copy dot dot, right? That means like we are copying the entire path from the GitHub regist.
Yeah, whatever the repo is there, like I'm copying to the working directory. Dot means present working directory.
Okay, okay, yeah.
Okay. And also, if they ask you to write a Docker file, you need to explain like what you mean by CMD, what do you mean by entry point. So in our project, we use CMD just to run the default command. And difference between CMD and entry point also, you can explain them. See, if they ask you one question, you need to be able to answer at least for three answers. I mean, three question answers you need to tell them. If they ask you to Docker file, you need to cover all the instructions what we use in a Docker file, like from working directory, CMD, all those things you need to explain. And also you need to explain like, suppose if I want to store any data, then I will go with the volumes. You can also specify volume also. In this case, you can specify CPU limits and memory limit also. So in this case, we can control the resources which can be used by the container. So it cannot affect other application which is running in another container. If I not specified CPU memory, then this container may use full host resources. Okay. ಗೊತ್ತಾಗ್ತಿದೆಯಾ?
Yes, sir. We got it, sir.
So in this way you need to prepare. If they ask you one question, you need to ಅವ್ರು ಸಾಕು ಅನ್ನೋವರೆಗೂ ಹೇಳ್ಬೇಕು ನೀವು. They tell you to stop, then you can stop. Okay. So, but in this case, they are not going to ask you further questions. They will move. That's why I'm telling you. If you only answer what you mean by Docker file violating only this is this, then they will ask you in another volumes, network. They will come another types of questions. To avoid that, you can explain whatever you know. If they want, they can ask you in another other questions. Otherwise, they will go with other tools. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. See, this is in the TCS. They ask you like, so they are going to ask you what you mean by Terraform module. Okay, instead of Jenkins, you have used by any other DevOps tools like Azure DevOps or GitLab Runner. They may ask you. Okay, so at least you have some time, right? So do one thing. Try to create an account in Azure. Okay, and just whatever the things you have done in Jenkins, same thing you can do it in Azure DevOps.
Okay, Sandeep. We will try, Sandeep.
Yeah, create. It will take 1 or 2 days to create an account. Just create it. Just go through some basic, very basic. Like first, you need to create an artifacts. Okay, from that artifacts, you can deploy to EC2 machine by installing your Azure agent in your EC2. How it works, you can make a note, steps, how you are configured. Then you can just configure like build a Docker image and push it to the ECR or ECR. Then you can deploy to container. This is second task. Third task is after building your Docker image, try to deploy to Kubernetes by using the service connection. If you know these things, they are not going to ask you particularly in Azure DevOps. Like if they ask you, you know about Azure DevOps? Yes, I know. Like for my self-learning purpose, I learned these things, but I don't have answer. But if I got the opportunity, I will keen to learn heavy.
Yes, Sandeep.
Most of the question, like what is mean by Terraform import? If suppose someone deleted the file, how we are going to recover?
And Sandeep, we are like the CI/CD pipeline, like agent, like in the most of the companies, like depends are like we use like Docker or Kubernetes parts we use, or it will be depend.
Which one?
In the CI/CD pipeline, agent we use, right? If we can use Docker and we can use Kubernetes also.
Anyone. You are going to deploy application to Kubernetes, then it is very good practice to use Kubernetes parts as an agent.
Okay, only if they ask only, then we have to specify, or else we don't need to specify, right?
Yes.
Okay.
If they ask you like how you are going to reduce your cost, then you can tell them like I have integrated this type parts as the agent, though in this case I can reduce the cost. Okay.
Yes. Yes, sir. There is multiple features
Suppose
available.
if I want to go with 10 projects, if I am going to use 10 agents, that will cost more. So same thing, I will write a deployment, I will install all the required tools into the pod. I will run 10 different projects in 10 different pods. Deployment is same. I will just increase the replica sets. Okay. One deployment, I will increase the 15 replica sets. So each pod will register as a new agent to my Jenkins. Okay.
Yes.
Okay. So next question, like, do you have experience in migrating? So ಇದನ್ನು ನಾನು ಹೇಳ್ಕೊಟ್ಟಿಲ್ಲ, migrating ಒಂದು ಹೇಳಿಲ್ಲ, but ಅದನ್ನು ತೋರ್ಸಕ್ಕಾಗಲ್ಲ. But I will give you the steps how to answer if they ask you to, like, how you are going to migrate from on-premises to cloud. Okay.
They will ask like cloud management.
Yes. So there is.
For on-premise to cloud, here we use like what we use like the Terraform import, or like how we will migrate from on-premise to Terraform infrastructure.
On-premises, like most of the companies, Terraform will use for your cloud only. I never seen like for on-premises. So on-premises means your application is running in your on-premises. Okay, 110 to 20 servers, your application is running. Then they are thinking that they need to go with the microservice architecture in the cloud. So what are the things you will consider as a DevOps engineer? Okay, so this question I may ask you. Hello.
Yes, Sandeep.
Yeah. So on that back, go on, Erika. Oh, okay. So it's service mesh is not at quad. So
Yes.
even I don't have the setup to show you. Let me explain one time. So tomorrow or day after tomorrow. So while showing the Grafana and Prometheus integration, I will also include service mesh also. Okay.
And sir, here I have one more doubt. Like in the CI/CD pipeline, like after the integration, like once the image is created, for the continuous deployment, here we use any tool or
Jenkins only we can use.
okay, with Jenkins only. Okay, like I saw like in the few times, like they used like Argo image and Argo CD.
See, Jenkins is a tool to integrate your CI/CD both.
Oh,
Using GitHub workflows, then it is only to create your Docker image. Again, we need to deploy, then we are going with the Argo CD. You have already CI/CD process. I mean, your Jenkins is a CI/CD. GitHub and other thing is someone is there. Like so that is only for your CI. If you are going for CD, then definitely we need to use Argo CD. Jenkins, Azure DevOps, GitLab Actions, these are all CI/CD tools. It is not only for CI.
oh,
Okay. See, in many companies they are going to Jenkins is mandatory. In some companies recently they have migrated to Azure DevOps because no one is interested to pay both the tools, GitHub separately and again for Argo CD. Okay. So they will go with one tool with fully CI/CD structure. Okay.
okay, understood.
Okay, guys. So, like, I think most of the questions covered. So, yesterday he asked some bit of some tough questions, right? Yesterday.
Yeah,
Yes,
yeah.
same questions only, but he asked in the different scenarios. Like in the
Yes.
scenario type, he asked.
Okay.
Sandeep, like one day, please can give time. Like we can work on the Azure. So at least ಅದು ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ನೋಡ್ಕೋಬಹುದು ಒಂದಿನ ಟೈಮ್ ಕೊಟ್ರೆ.
Okay. Okay. So at least for 1 hour you can attend for Q&A. At least don't miss Q&A. At least for regular practice. Okay. Anyway, you have time, right, from morning to evening. At least for 1 hour, you can join for Q&A. So what will happen if I not taking a Q&A? So you will miss some. It should be a habit to like ಹೆಂಗಂದ್ರೆ ಪ್ರಾಕ್ಟೀಸ್ ಆಗಬೇಕು. ದಿನ ಹೇಳಿ ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ, even if they ask you out of the box question, then you are able to answer at least manageable answer you can answer.
ಸಂದೀಪ್, ನಾವು ಆಕ್ಚುಲಿ ಡೈಲಿ ಮಾರ್ನಿಂಗ್ ಕನೆಕ್ಟ್ ಆಗ್ತೀವಿ, ನಾಗರೆಡ್ಡಿ, ನಾವು, ಅಮೃತ ಅವರು. ಸೊ ಡೈಲಿ ಕ್ವಶನ್ಸ್ ಮಿಸ್ ಮಾಡಲ್ಲ, ಲೈಕ್ ರೆಗ್ಯುಲರ್ಲಿ ನಾವು ಕೇಳ್ತಾ ಇರ್ತೀವಿ. ಸೊ ಹಂಗಾಗಿ ನಮ್ಗೆ ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಲೈಕ್ ಫ್ಲೋ ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಕರೆಕ್ಟ್ ಆಗಿ ಬರ್ತಿದ್ದೇನಾ. ಸೊ ಇದು ಒಂದು ನಾವು ಪ್ರಾಕ್ಟಿಕಲ್ ಮಾಡಿಲ್ಲಲ್ಲ, ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಇದನ್ನ ಮಾಡಿ ಮತ್ತೆ ನಾವು ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಮತ್ತೆ ಸ್ಟಾರ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರೆ.
Okay, let's see. At least for tomorrow.
ಸರ್, ಇಲ್ಲಾಂದ್ರೆ Q&A ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಇದ್ರು 1 hour ನಿಮ್ಗೆ ಇದು ಡೆವಾಪ್ಸ್ ಅಜೂರ್ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ನೀವೇ ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ತೋರಿಸ್ಬೋದು.
ಓಕೆ, ನಂಗೆ ಅದೇ ನಾನು ಸ್ಕ್ರೀನ್ ಶೇರ್ ಮಾಡಕ್ಕೆ ಆಗ್ತಾ ಇಲ್ಲ. ಇಲ್ಲ ಪರವಾಗಿಲ್ಲ, ಒಂದ್ಸತಿ ನೋಡ್ತೀನಿ ರೀ. ಅದೇನಾದ್ರು ಪರ್ಮಿಷನ್ ತಗೋಬೋದ? ಪರ್ಮಿಷನ್ ಇಲ್ಲ ಅನ್ಸುತ್ತೆ, ನೋಡ್ತೀನಿ ರೀ. ಅದೇನಾದ್ರೆ ಐ ಕ್ಯಾನ್ ಶೋ ಯು like what are the things you need to know how to write it. So at least I will show you how to write a YAML file, how to write how to create a service connection, and how to CA separate, CD separate, how to write in the Azure DevOps. I will show you. So you'll get some idea. Before that, you should go through, you can just create an account and try to create one Jenkins, Azure DevOps job or Azure DevOps pipeline.
Okay, then it's the same as like AWS support karana. So we have to provide our like ATM card, like a debit card, a credit card.
Maybe they are. I think the first is that. Yeah, there is a student account is there. I think they are not going to ask anything. If they ask you, at least they will only charge you for 1 rupees or 2 rupees. For Azure DevOps, you can. There is a packages, okay. Student, entrepreneur, like different categories will be there. You can select like a student and you can spin up, okay.
Okay.
But don't go with the cloud again. There is the huge charges will be there in the Azure DevOps, and also it's not like an AWS. They are not going to give any free services, okay. Very strict and very couple of services only they will give you in the Azure cloud. Okay. Azure DevOps, I think it's free, and Azure DevOps also only for certain number of hours it is going to be free. After that, they are going to charge if you are spinning up any VMs or blob storage or VNet, something like that. Okay. But at least meanwhile, just practice with your Azure DevOps. Okay. So what you will do? Create anyway. You have an EC2 instance. From EC2 instance, you can create one install Azure agent. Okay, from Azure DevOps, try to deploy one file. Don't go with the artifacts. At least you clone the one file from repository and build it. So same file you can deploy it through Azure DevOps. So at least you will get some idea.
Yeah, Sandeep.
Okay, guys. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you, Sandeep.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.